Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Amy Hashchak. I'll be moderating today's discussion. This is the Business Growth Collaborative panelist discussion that we'll be presenting today. I first want to say thank you for choosing to spend an hour with us, as we know your time is very valuable. The organizations represented on this panel, as well as a few that weren't able to attend, make up the Business Growth Collaborative. Our hope is that you get to know us as well as the organizations that we represent, walk away with more awareness of the types of assistance that's out there in the Greater Toledo area for entrepreneurs and small businesses. We really believe that we are a great reflection of what community organizations can accomplish in supporting entrepreneurs when they do it together. Before I dive in, I'd just like to take a couple minutes to introduce myself and our amazing panel that we have with us today. I'll start by introducing myself. Again, I'm Amy Hashchak. I'm the Director of Operations for JumpStart Toledo office. Our main office is in Cleveland, Ohio, but I lead and manage the office along with a small but mighty team of four, which we officially opened our doors in January of 2019. And with that, we'll do a little round robin here. Jill, you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, your name, title within the organization and your organization.
Hi, I'm Jill Badger. I'm the Director of the Small Business Development Center located at the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Thanks, Jill. Tim?
Awesome. I guess I'm next. I am Tim Clark, Economic Development Chair for the African American Chamber in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda Fairweather, and I'm a business specialist, and I'm also a librarian at the Toledo Lucas County Public Library.
Thank you. Lenora?
Hi, my name is Lenora McIntyre, and I'm the Equity, Community Relations, and Supplier Diversity Interim Program Manager, as well as the Operations Manager for the Minority Business Development Center at the University of Toledo.
Great. Nina?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nina Quadra. I am currently Managing Director of Women of Toledo.
And Sarah?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sarah Allen with LISC. I'm a program officer with the Toledo program.
Great. Thanks, everybody. So partners that weren't able to attend the panel today are Center for Innovative Food Technology, Assets Toledo, Northwest Ohio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, ECDI, and the Toledo Lucas County Port Authority. I kind of wanted to start off before we dive into some conversation. I just wanted to start by giving a little bit of background as to why and how the Business Growth Collaborative got started. At the end of 2018, through many discussions that were happening within the community, it was clear that while many of the organizations in town were already working together to assist businesses and had great relationships, it was also clear that with a more structured approach and more consistency, as well as bringing other smaller organizations that could be together, that there could be more of a streamlined way of working together to not only help businesses in a more efficient way, but also identify gaps in the ecosystem that we could be focusing our efforts. In the BGC, as we call it, we often talk about visualizing and placing the entrepreneur in the center of the room and wrapping our resources around them. The core of that vision really led us to identify organizations in the ecosystem based on their prior contributions within the Greater Toledo area and services that they provided. Once those organizations were identified, which is who you see on this panel today, as well as the others that I had listed, we had our first meeting in January of 2019 and began discussing how we could best come together collectively to help businesses and think outside the box to boost the ecosystem and create programming. We started by having each of the organizations that you see here and that were listed self-select 2 to 3 areas of emphasis that they would like to focus on within the BGC based on the services that they provide within our organizations. This would allow us to identify the strengths of the organizations that they bring to the table and know when to send businesses to each of the collaborators. Next, we created an MOU that would define the objectives of the collaborative and hold everyone accountable via best practices, such as meeting standards, data compliance, et cetera. Some of the objectives of the BGC include working to achieve more inclusive business and entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Greater Toledo area, which we have a special emphasis on businesses, minority businesses, and underserved communities. The ways in which we assist small businesses through the BGC include collective support of clients through business advisory services and client support meetings. But we also have funding that has been made available for the BGC specifically to create programming that emphasizes on filling gaps within the ecosystem and creating or increasing capacity by working together as collaborators. Through these efforts over the past 2.5 years, we've really gotten to know each other even better than we did before. And we have essentially stacked hands and said, no matter whose door an entrepreneur walks through, the entrepreneur no longer needs to figure out if they're in the right place or if they're going to get the full amount of services that they need or assistance that they need. We all collectively help these entrepreneurs, help the entrepreneurs get them to where they need to be, follow them on their journey, and help take the stress out of what to do and where to go. As we know, navigating this can be very overwhelming. We're also here to educate entrepreneurs on all the resources available, not just within our own organizations, but within the entire community and ecosystem. So with that, I think now would be a great time for me to pass things off to our panelists to give them an opportunity to discuss each of their organizations within the context of the BGC and the programs they offer with this type of funding. So Jill, I'm going to pass it over to you first.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Jill Badger, Director of the Small Business Development Center. The Small Business Development Center is a national program in all 50 states. Ohio has over 25 centers. Ours at the Chamber covers Lucas and Wood County. Historically, we've always focused on financial understanding as what we do the most. We help business owners try to create a budget, understand what their finances look like, help them with financial opportunities, business lending, understanding how to go get that loan, grant opportunities, anything that might help them out financially. Throughout the pandemic, we also started assisting with marketing a little bit as far as if you have a website, understanding if you need to update some of the content, make some changes to it, SEO optimization, and some social media and digital platform optimizations. With the help of the BGC, we have taught classes, business basics that help in some beginning understanding of entrepreneurship and things you might need to know when starting your business. When the pandemic hit, we found that the class we were teaching was a little difficult to sit through a 3-hour class virtually. So we decided to break up that class into segments. And so you can also find 10-minute videos, both on our Facebook and on our YouTube channel that kind of go through different parts of entrepreneurship, such as the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship, if and when you need to pay sales tax, some on contracting, some on QuickBooks. We just took some of the aspects of the class and broke it up so that you don't necessarily have to watch the whole 3-hour video, but that is available as well. So we work with all of the people on this panel and the others that Amy suggested or spoke about so that we can come together and help the entrepreneurs no matter what stage they are in the business life cycle. Did I forget anything, Amy?
Just so everyone knows, the chat is open. So if you have specific questions for later, feel free to throw those in there. But thank you, Jill. Tim, I'm going to pass it over to you. Oh, you're on mute.
Hey, thanks everyone for joining us today, but definitely want to kind of talk about the Chamber's involvement, the African Chamber in relation to the BGC. We had a couple of questions that we asked within this organization. That's how can we get funding to the minority community? And then also how can we begin to scale businesses up? So what we've been doing as it relates to the BGC, obviously we've been doing some things our part of this whole collaborative is the tech aspect of it. We have mentors that are in the tech field. We have mentors also that are attorneys. That's some of the things we've been doing on the tech field for is basically how do they set the hardware up? How do they begin to understand how this algorithm helps manage their business? We are actually training people on SEO engines and things like that, that a lot of people don't think about, because obviously if you can't scale your business up, it really doesn't make a difference. And then, of course, one thing we do that we like, and kind of some of the flagship that we're doing now, is this thing called Nest Prospecting. Many people have heard of it, but here at the African Chamber and part of the collaborative, we approach it from a three-pronged approach. First of all, we look at Nest Prospecting as a model. Just as a model itself, and a lot of organizations may be teaching that, but also we begin to talk about this whole thing of nest prospecting for scalability. And then finally, we look at nest prospecting for bankability. And within that, we begin to define to our mentors these three concentric circles. I don't have a picture of that, but those are some of the things we're doing. But from a nest prospecting process, I want to share my screen just for a moment, and I'll wrap up kind of what our piece in this is. And I'm getting better at this Zoom. I'm pretty sure most of y'all are a lot better than me. I'm trying to get better at this thing, so I may be a little bit slower, but here's kind of a model that we begin to go through, and we look at three categories within that model: facilitating, sourcing, cultivating. A lot of times we look at nest prospecting as a whole, and some of you say, what is nest prospecting? First of all, are you prospecting to people who have a commonality? Are you prospecting to people who have the income or to be able to do your solution? Once we begin to identify those companies, get them to that position, then we focus on obviously digital presence. That's where our tech comes in. We're talking about sourcing. We look at three different sourcing methods that are based on metrics designed to scale the business up. And then obviously the cultivating, which is nurturing. How do we nurture those prospects? Maybe they're not saying yes now, but how do we begin to cultivate them, whether that's 3 months, whether that's 6 months, whether that's 1 year? So that's kind of a deep dive into our prospecting competencies. As you see there, nurturing, personal observation, which is observing. You maybe go to you may be drinking coffee and you notice somebody in that restaurant or whatever, or in that coffee shop. Warm sourcing, obviously that's a great area where you get warm source leads, and then networking events, and then digital presence. And we start from bottom up to work our way up, and to help our business become scalable and also bankable with our three concentric circles, which if you need more information about that, we'll be glad to share that with you. And that's kind of our piece in the collaborative for the Business Growth Collaborative. I hope I wasn't too long there, but.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Linda, before I pass it off to you, I just want to let everyone know I did put in the chat a link to our landing page for the Business Growth Collaborative. We already got a question from Scott asking how you contact all of our wonderful collaborators. So please feel free to take a look at that and reach out to any one of these organizations. And with that, Linda.
I am Linda again. And one of the things that I have found really exciting about the Business Growth Collaborative is how I have been able to compound the help I can give people, because a lot of times when people meet us the first time, they are so new to business, they're afraid to go anywhere else. So I can give them a nice, warm pass off to someone else where they maybe need their financials. So that would be one place. That's usually the chamber. Or if they need more networking, I might be sending them to Women of Toledo. If they need funding, I might be sending them to LISC or ECBI. But what's been really nice is being able to express to everybody else the resources we have. And that is, I mean, when people think of a library, they think of resources. And I always like to let people know that I've only been in this job for 8 years, but the library has had a business specialist for well over 30 years. And prior to coming to the library, I knew my business specialist really well, because they're the ones who taught me how to use some of these databases. And as a consultant, not only did I use them for prospecting, I also used them to basically spy on my competition. So now I get to teach other people how to access these databases. And some of them, I was talking with someone who was recently brought into the Toledo area from somewhere else, and somebody had told them they should talk to me, and this was a business professional. And what he was looking for is he wanted to purchase one of the databases that we actually have. So that was D&B Hoover's. He wanted to purchase it for his company. And I said, you could get a free library card and then you wouldn't have to spend the money there. So sometimes it is not just the startups, it's also some of these other businesses that are expanding their market. So for us at the library, it's been great to be able to let everybody else know these are the resources. You don't have to buy these. You can send people this week and this way. And normally our databases are available 24/7. We're just having our latest pandemic on cybersecurity. So this is day 9 of not having access to them, but we're hoping it will be done soon. So those are, I think one of the things that has really brought to life for me and what's been being part of the collaborative is the wealth of businesses we get to see and the people whose dreams and ideas they're trying to nurture. And it's really great to be able to help them nurture it without always being the person, that's saying, ooh, that's not a good idea. Sometimes it may not be a great idea, but research using the library on trends and marketing and things like that can a lot of times help somebody solidify how they're going to go forward. So I think that's, I was going to tell you too, one of the things we have started doing is we have another business specialist, Zachary Huber, and his brainstorm has turned into a wonderful addition to what we do. So on Tuesday afternoons, the two of us travel out to branches, and we have set up an online way that people can make appointments. And then we meet people at the branches, and sometimes they're business professionals and sometimes they're people that have been in business for a while and they want to know what else they can do or how to reach competition or how to reach customers. So it's really been well received, and we are looking at continuing it next year. So I think that's basically what I have to say. We got research.
Thank you, Linda. And yeah, the library is just such a great wealth of resources for all the things that Linda was referencing. And best of luck to your continued cybersecurity resolutions. We'll call it resolutions. Okay, Lenora, I believe you're up.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Amy, to introduce the University of Toledo's Minority Business Incubation Program. We have just recently joined the Business Growth Collaborative, so this is quite a privilege. I'm going to share my screen as I have several slides to share. I'd like to just give a little background on our program. It started with the University of Toledo's commitment to transforming the local economy through entrepreneurial and economic development. As a show of this commitment on behalf of the University of Toledo, they created a incubation center, a business incubation center that was launched in 2009. And this is a minority business incubation center. And the focus is really to foster an environment that offers assistance to emerging minority-owned early-stage disadvantaged businesses. So you might ask yourself, what is the purpose of an incubation center? Why is it needed? Well, just this year, the U.S. Census Bureau released new estimates that kind of show the landscape of employer businesses in the United States. Approximately 18.3% or 1 million of all U.S. businesses started are minority-owned, and about 19.9% or 1.1 million of those businesses are women-owned. So although those sound like very encouraging prospects for entrepreneurs, the reality is that only a fraction of those businesses will actually survive, because there are other business statistics, which are not quite so exciting, that show that within the first year, 20% of all businesses fail, and that by the 10th year of business, a staggering 70% of all businesses have had to shut their doors and turn off their lights. And so for our minority, small-owned women businesses, it can be even more daunting. Of the 2.1 million minority and women-owned businesses that are going to be started, 8 out of 10 will fail within the first 18 months. So the Minority Business Incubators works diligently to provide a framework of support services that allow these startups to avoid those statistics. We want to make sure that they have technical resources, professional assistance, all the things that are going to help support growth, sustainability, and economic development. Recently, our incubation program has moved to a 5,000 square feet state-of-the-art building that's in the engineering campus at the University of Toledo. This is where entrepreneurs can thrive. They can leverage not only existing relationships, but resources and knowledge to really focus on providing their services, enhancing their business, and strengthening the minority business community in Northwest Ohio. I am very honored and grateful that Amy has invited me to be a part of this discussion today. And if anybody has questions about the program and its offerings, please feel free to contact me directly.
Thank you, Lenora. Very helpful information. Nina, I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you for the rest of the partner. Again, my name is Nina Quader. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let me introduce our organization a little bit, and then I'll talk a little bit how we collaborate with the rest of the Toledo Business Growth Collaborative. So Women of Toledo, we are a nonprofit organization that's serving Northwest Ohio that committed at advocating for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging with a focus on economic empowerment. So when we talk about DEI and economic empowerment, we offer a lot of programs and services that help tackle issues and barriers that are critical to women economic advancement through all our initiatives. So we have about 4 initiatives that we do here at Women of Toledo. One of our flagship program is the mentoring program. The second one is the economic development, which a lot of involvement with the TBGC group. And then we also have an advocacy and also her hub initiative, which is our social enterprise model. So what we do here is pretty much, we teach a lot of women and young women to connect and support them how to build new skills and resources while creating mentorship, peer networking circle to share ideas, offer support, and seek advice. Why do we choose to work with women? Because according to 2020 report by National Women Business Council by the Fourth Woman, in 1972, women only own about 4.6% of all businesses. And now women own about 40% of businesses in the United States. However, the challenges to women businesses today are not different from the challenges women in the past. That is why we continue advocating for women and how to make sure that we support and help advocate to eliminate a lot of barriers for women-owned business. The good news that recently the research showed that we have about 13 million women-owned business in the United States that employ 9.4 million workers. Women-owned business generate about 1.9 trillion annually, and women of color account of 50% of female business owners. So that's a great news for all of us, right? So how do we collaborate with TBGC? So we collaborated in 3 ways. We do have a program under our economic development called Momentum Circle. Momentum Circle is pretty much a talking circle for women-owned business, and that way we can provide a lot of, conversation and kind of address and focus on issues that women-owned business encounter each day. And through the conversation, we identify how we can support them by providing them resources and also referral to our Toledo Business Collaborative deal flow with technical assistance. The best part about this group is, and also the TBGC, is we don't need to offer the technical assistance ourselves, because we know that we can depend on like all this 10, 12 agency business advisor that can give and provide technical assistance for our women-owned business. So all we need to do is connect them to the right resources. The second program, how we collaborate with Toledo Business Growth Collaborative, is through our hub, where we can provide accelerator fund for our women-owned business, not just to learn how to network, and also if they want to bridge the network gap and be a part of like African American Chamber, Hispanic Chamber, and that we can help them with some funding to be able to pay for their membership or any resources that they needed it to bridge their network gap as they grow their business. Finally, we are excited, like Tim mentioned, is our Northwest Ohio Business Mentoring Program. It's a collaboration program between Women of Toledo, Hispanic Chamber, and African American Chamber. And this is our year 2, and we have seen a lot of exciting, great work and impact and outcome from our women-owned business that getting the mentorship and learning them how, to network and connect and then get the knowledge from a lot of mentor that is also have been in a business for many, many years. So that's a little bit about Women at Toledo and how we partner and collaborate with the TBGC.
Thank you, Nina. That's great. Sarah, over to you.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen because I also have a few slides and it helps keep me on track. Let's see if I can do just a portion of the screen. Oop, we're just gonna do this part right here. Can everyone see that little portion there? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm Sarah with LISC. I'm a program officer in the Toledo office, and I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about, who LISC is and some of the resources that we bring to the BGC and how we're a part of the BGC. So our mission is up here. I won't read it to you. We are, LISC is the nation's largest community development support organization. We're also what's called a CDFI, or Community Development Financial Institution. And that's a designation by the US Department of Treasury that allows us to look and act very much like a bank. But unlike a bank, we're a nonprofit and mission-based lender. We are headquartered in New York City, and we have 37 urban programs, including Toledo's, and a rural program that touches thousands of counties across all of the US, including Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And so we really, our work, we do a lot of things because we have a comprehensive approach to community development, but part of that is supporting small businesses. We equip struggling communities with capital, strength, and know-how to become places where people can thrive. So today, and the largest role that we play in the Business Growth Collaborative is as a lender. So I have some of our small business products in here. I'm not going to go over those today because that's we're not getting into the deep dive of lending, but you can see that we provide a variety of options for established small businesses, from business acquisition and furniture, fixture, and equipment, all the way through commercial real estate loans. And our role as a nonprofit CDFI, it's to provide capital to small businesses who are unable to secure traditional financing. It could be maybe they don't have enough equity. It could be that they had credit issues in the past. We're there to support entrepreneurs in gaining access to capital when they're not able to get a loan approved from the bank, or maybe even they're not quite ready for an SBA product. So I put this in just in case you're interested, and I'm not sure if we're doing any sharing later, but here's some of the general criteria for economic development products. We can support businesses who have been in business for at least 2 years. So you're outside of the startup phase and have an annual business revenue of at least 100,000. So we are not so in the sort of capital ladder structure, we're a couple steps up, but we also are, in between the lower levels of the capital ladder and bank financing. We have more flexible underwriting criteria. You can see our, credit score requirements are more flexible than banks. And we work with borrowers very, very closely to try and get to a place if they're not quite ready for a loan yet. Maybe there's another resource out there, or maybe they need to work on a few things like credit, or, it could be it could be saving some additional dollars for our 10% equity contribution required. But we work very closely with small businesses in trying to support them through the loan application process. We do have one product that is available for startups. Anybody at any stage of development can access the Kiva dollars. So Kiva is an online crowdfunding platform, and they have loans available for up to $15,000. In order to tap the partnership with LISC, the borrower would need to be endorsed by a LISC Kiva trustee, and we have two in Toledo, JumpStart, who is here today. Yes, Amy, and ECDI is another. But when the trustee endorses the campaign, it triggers a match from LISC to help borrowers, small businesses, get to their campaign or their loan goal faster. So those are the sort of the services and resources that we bring to the Business Growth Collaborative. So, the three roles that we play really are as a member. So we provide that access to capital to the ecosystem. We also are there to connect the folks that come to us first, to the BGC members who maybe need a little bit of support. Maybe it's they need to do some research, so we send them to Linda, or they need some projections. So, they're working with the SBDC and Jill and her team. We're also a funder. So part of the role that we play in the BGC is providing grant support to JumpStart. JumpStart is the backbone operator of the BGC. They keep all of us, Amy keeps us all in, all together and moving forward. And LISC really understands and values the role of that organization, that lead who can keep everybody on track, hold folks accountable, and move us forward collectively. So we provide some of that grant support there. And then we're also a capacity builder. We do this very broadly with all of our partners across all the different projects or programs that we run. But we provide technical assistance and offer technical assistance to the BGC members to increase their organizational capacity in order to secure additional resources and serve more small businesses. So those are sort of the three roles that we play in the BGC. And I threw in my contact information if you are fast enough to grab it. And that's it for me. Amy, you're muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Sarah. I didn't know if you happen to catch, there's a couple of questions for you in the chat. You can take a look at those while I'm talking, and we can maybe circle back if you, or you can connect offline if applicable. But like Sarah said, and let me go ahead and share my screen. I've just got one slide here that I wanted to go up. I've got the circle of death going, so let's hope that it comes up here soon. But I'm gonna keep talking here. Hopefully you see that now. So like Sarah said, JumpStart is the facilitator and backbone support for the BGC, which involves managing all of the surveys, data, and reporting, leading the meetings, as well as providing service through our internal staff. And I have up on the screen some of the services that JumpStart offers. I'm not going to go through each of them, but just to show by category, we're providing advisory services. Like I mentioned, we do have EIRs, or entrepreneurs in residence, here locally. While our staff here locally is, again, a small but mighty team of 4, we do leverage all of the staff of JumpStart, which is out of the Cleveland office, well over 60 employees. So we have a breadth of experienced individuals to help our clients. There are a couple mentoring programs that we provide. That the Burton D. Morgan mentoring program is more specific to the tech side of the business. And then we do have cohort-based programs. So we have smaller workshops that are more, small group classes, anything from market validation to value proposition workshops. And then some more deep dive or intensive workshops that we provide that are topic specific. So that could be something like, marketing, talent, HR, best practices, things like that. A program that maybe more of you might be familiar with is our impact program. So that's a high intensive 12-week by application based program that's offered twice a year. 5 businesses get in per cohort. We are looking to potentially increase either the number of participants in those cohorts, given the success of it, or potentially adding a third cohort, but stay tuned on that. At the end of those 12 weeks, there is a showcase, and you kind of think of it as a graduation of those of the cohort. And at the end, there is each of the participants in the cohort pitch in front of what used to be a live audience. Hopefully we'll get back to that. But more recently, it's been virtual. And the top pitch, it is through a panel of judges that are from the community who judge the pitches, and the top pitch gets $10,000, the touch participant, but everybody else walks away with $2,500. So you really are essentially getting paid to go through that program. The Launch Your MVP and Build Your MVP deep dive workshops are specific to our tech and tech-enabled clients. And then Blueprint is something that we had added when we saw a need for companies who weren't quite ready for that impact program yet. So kind of think of it as an impact light. And then we do have talent recruiting, some pilot-based programs, venture validation, medical capital innovation competition. And then we do offer several pitch competitions. So not just the impact showcase, but we've done small business competitions, and then also something called an open mic pitch night, which are really fun. And I'm hoping to get back to those in person. That's where entrepreneurs can kind of get their feet wet on what it feels like to get up in front of a crowd and pitch your business. So you can climb up on stage and grab the microphone and pitch your business in front of a panel of, again, people from the community, business owners, and they will give you immediate feedback. And if you like the experience, you can then move on to a larger pitch competition. So let me go ahead and unshare my screen here. If I can do that, okay. Now we're going to get into asking some questions from our panelists. So as we're doing that, if you have questions for our panelists as well, feel free to throw those in the chat, but we do have some queued up. Sarah, I'm going to start with you. How has the BGC, or the Business Growth Collaborative, in your opinion, helped small businesses grow faster?
So I would say that the Business Growth Collaborative has helped businesses grow faster because we're all together in a room. Before the BGC, all of us were working together. That's not to say that we didn't all have professional business relationships with each other, but the BGC really formalized that. And in doing so, it really expedites the way that we can work together. So instead of, having kind of one meeting here with 1 or 2 organizations, and then maybe a little later you follow up here, or maybe you don't even have a meeting, you just sort of write an email and do an introduction. We don't really know, did the entrepreneurs follow up? Did they, did the organization, the business development organization, did they follow up? You just don't know. So the BGC really brought that formalized process of how we would work together. So, we're together at least once a month in, in a room, virtually or otherwise, to go through different businesses that need assistance. And that requires anybody who has had contact with, a business to ask questions, to try to get an understanding of, holistically, how is the business, so that they can best refer folks to the right BGC partner. So it really just has created a way to get folks to work together faster. It also, we use a client management systems, or client, what do you call them? CRM? What do we, client? I don't know, whatever it's called, but we use a data tracking system to hold each other accountable, to say, hey, you were supposed to follow up with so-and-so. Have you done that yet? I see that you didn't, mark that you did. So, it's on both sides. We can see the progress that we're making collectively. We can hold each other accountable, and it really cuts down on the time that it takes to work together, because we have, this established process for doing so at least monthly.
Perfect. Nina, what do you think? Anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. I totally agree with Sarah. So let me just share a story. This is based on our internal survey that we did. We maintain about 59 to about 60 of women-owned business as our client, to support them with the networking, mentoring, and build connection. To be able to be a part of TGBC using our momentum as a funnel, we were able to refer at least, I believe this year, about 36 of our women-owned business to be a part of the TBGC deal flow. And then we did our own internal survey, and almost 70% of our TBGC refer client have mentioned that meeting advisor throughout the Toledo Business Collaborative had helped their business scale up to the next level. So we have seen that it expedite a little bit on growth with a lot of our women-owned business, because especially for a lot of our women-owned business, especially we do serve a majority minority Black and brown women businesses. Sometimes taking that leap of faith to go to the next level take a little bit longer, by meeting some of the Toledo Business Growth Advisor, giving them confidence, and the mentoring kind of help them go out to the next level. I do believe that I do have one of the testimonial of our business client. She's been a part of her hub for almost 2 years. She have not taken advantage a lot of our other programming. Then we connect her with TBGC, and she have worked with Linda Fairweather at the library. She was able to do the market research, look at some competition. She have met Jill Badger at SPDC, looking at her profit and loss and revenue. And then she also received one of our recent boost fund. And she's also currently very active with our Northwest Mentoring Program. And we received a testimonial from her. She said business have been so good. The technical assistance received from the TBGC group and the mentorship program have helped so much. I have been making such amazing connection. My business have been taking off. I literally cry every single time I have to reflect on how my connection with TCBG, Women of Toledo, and the rest of the business advisor so close, being where I want to be. So now you can see that's a wrap around services. So they don't feel like they're alone anymore, because now we put our entrepreneur in the middle, as a small business. And now that, oh, I have 12 advisors, or I have 4 mentors. I have from finance, marketing. Kenny have helped a lot from JumpStart with a lot of our women-owned business on value proposition, market. So it have been great. As for the organization, of course, the TCBG have helped us build our capacity. So instead of focus on one entrepreneur and try to create a lot of programming to help them be the next level, now we can really serve more clients and then be able to have them go through with the Toledo Business Collaborative group.
That's great. Thank you, Nita. I always love a personal success story. That was great. Thank you for sharing that. Next question I have is, how has the BGC helped in your relationship with your peers on this panel? So Lenora, that one is for you.
Well, I would say as a new member of the BGC that I'm really looking forward to collaboration with the group. I think that collaboration is a powerful business tool. We talk about it a lot with our entrepreneurs, but it's not just for them. It's also for all the service provider organizations that assist them. Because when we pool our efforts and expertise, when we work together within the group, not only do we elevate our programs and give them visibility, but we're also able to improve efficiencies. We can accomplish all our missions and goals more successfully and more quickly. We can bring more value to the organizations, and we can also reach out to more people, which is the main thrust of all our organizations is to help as many entrepreneurs as possible.
Trying to get myself off mute there. Thank you, Lenora. That was great. Thank you. Jill, did you have something to add to that question?
Similar to Lenora, I think every single one of us on this panel all knew each other before, but the Business Growth Collaborative has kind of helped us identify the two things that we're all really good at and let us rely on each other for other things. We can't be everything to everyone. So it kind of helps us connect the dots and know easily who to refer people to. And because we have a monthly meeting, it gives us the opportunity to probably do it a little more frequently than we had in the past.
Great, thank you. Tim, this question is for you. Can you tell us what you've learned through the Business Growth Collaborative that you wouldn't have otherwise known? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I thought I was off mute. I called myself taking my mind moved my button, but I didn't move it. So, but hey, I'm here. Hey, just when I think back on the collaborative, through my own private practice, I'd been funneling small business owners over to MBAC. I think it's another name now, Lenore, but didn't know this group existed. And then finally got connected with the African Chamber. And I would not have known that it exceeds past MBAC, exceeds, the Women of Toledo, the library, all these resources I would not have known. It just gives a crazy fit for our clientele, because we want to make these business a success, and to have subject matter experts through even the Toledo Chamber, Hispanic Chamber. I didn't know this exists, because we think a lot of times, we say, well, man, the city's not together, or people are not together. And coming to this panel, let me know that there is a collaborative unit that can make sure that we truly scale the business up. So I think that what I would say I learned, just the fact that we were together, did not know that. So I'll just give them to one person. Now I can spread the wealth, if you will. So.
Great, thank you, Tim. Linda, did you want to add to that?
I think one of the things that's really been, the library has really enjoyed, and just getting to know the different people and in the collaborative, but one of the things that we've really gotten a good handle on is the expertise. And I think that was when JumpStart said, we're going to do this. I think that was really helpful, because I know that, everybody can't do everything. And so now I guess the other thing that I like here at the library is a lot of people are comfortable with the library because they've been bringing their children here. They came here in high school, they came here. So there's a comfort level where they can start here. And I think that's great, because we don't ever say that's a stupid idea or that's silly. We take people where they are and help them. But knowing what everybody else's expertise is in the group means that I can really help a person accelerate their business, because instead of me trying to do everything, and it's not so much trying to do it, because we have resources. Oh, so you need to become certified. I can show you where you do that. Well, now I can actually do an introduction, so I can make sure they get on the path and then follow up on them. Where before it was, okay, here's the phone number, here's the website. And now it's that personal connection. So I think and also how willing everyone is to help. That has been amazing.
Yeah, thank you for that. And just to kind of add to what everyone is saying, the fact that we do have a centralized system to where there are milestones set up for these entrepreneurs too. So as we're talking about companies, that need assistance, oftentimes the rule of thumb when we're talking about companies is they need assistance from at least one or two other organizations in the room, as we're all meeting once a month. And we don't walk away with, hey, this company needs help. What are we going to do? It's very organized. It's we know who to direct them to, and that it is not only is it a follow-up, but milestones are set for those companies We're making sure that they're followed up with. We set the next milestone to continue to move them on to the next stages in growth. And the amount of time that has been cut down and the efficiencies that have happened to move these businesses even faster. We just have seen it exponentially move these businesses to success much more efficiently. I'm going to ask this question kind of to the group, and nobody's assigned this question, but for other communities that are looking to potentially do something similar to the Business Growth Collaborative, kind of what is your and feel free to speak openly. What are some of your learnings here? I'll be first to say, when we first started, it took us 4 to 6 months of the storming, norming phases of getting everyone together, making sure everybody understood what this thing was, determining the best practices, and getting an MOU created and things like that. But curious from the group, once we got past that, I would really encourage communities to kind of push past that initial phase, because now that we're 2.5 years into it, to see where we are today and the way that we're assisting clients, I really do think that it makes a huge difference. So if anyone else wants to chime in and just kind of some words of advice for communities that may be looking to do this as well.
I'll just jump in briefly, Amy. I just have a quick comment. I just want to say, and I'll say this again and again, so I hate to be repetitive, but I honestly believe that collaboration is not a choice. These organizations, these communities don't have the time to just wonder if this is what they need to do. It's a necessity. If you're going to strengthen the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we have to all work together, because really that is the only way to generate a better impact for our entrepreneurs. So just my little 2 cents.
Go ahead, Linda.
Well, having been a private consultant before I came to the library for almost 20 years, one of the things that I have loved about this coming together, this ecosystem, is as a consultant, I would still, because my heart, when somebody says they want to start this business, even if they didn't have money, I wanted to help them. And I had places I'd help send them. But what I see now is from the outside, if I'm looking in, I see a group of people that work together. And if I were still on the outside, I wouldn't hesitate to send a person to any one of these groups, knowing that if that person couldn't help them, they would find somebody that could. So it's sort of like you're sending them to a unified group where the people working together, and yes, Amy did say it took us about 6 months to get our things together, but it's just wonderful to know that this is a place where somebody can get started and grow. And it complements the for-profit businesses out there, because what they end up with is maybe the first venture into the for-profit areas, somebody joins a chamber or somebody joins a networking group, and then they find out what else they need. And I'm sure everybody heard that none of us are doing taxes or accounting or any of that. We might train people, but we're not doing that. So there's still that real need out there for the private sector. So we're not stepping on toes. We're enhancing the community to make it better for them too.
Thank you, Linda.
And I would say for communities trying to really start this, I would say don't wait. There's a quote that said, where there's unity, there's victory. And the quicker we can come together, the quicker we can collaborate. I will say, obviously, there'll be challenges, there will be conflict, but I'm going to say out of the challenge, out of the conflict comes this collaboration, which is a win for everybody. So I would say if you have not started this in your community, it'll be something great. Obviously, we've got a long way to go, but we've got a good start.
Sarah?
Yeah, for those folks who are maybe outside of the Lucas County area, especially for small businesses, if you're not maybe a business development organization, a professional kind of providing technical assistance to small businesses, if you are a small business yourself outside of Toledo, not every community has a business growth collaborative. It may look different, but even if there isn't a formalized structure, there are so many resources there are very likely many resources in your community. Before the BGC got started, especially when I would talk to entrepreneurs, they just didn't realize that all of these resources were out there. So, now that you kind of have a familiarity with some of the resources here, check in with your library. Do you have a local SBDC? And they can help connect you to additional resources in your community.
And for those that might be wondering, we get this question on occasion, how do I apply to be in the BGC? There is no application, and that is by design. So really, essentially, like I said in the very beginning, if you connect with anyone on this panel or anyone in the Business Growth Collaborative, you are in the door and we will get you to where you need to be. So that is essentially how you're in the Business Growth Collaborative. So if you need resources that the organization, if you were to come to JumpStart and we did not have the resources that you needed within JumpStart, and we knew it was within the organizations in the Business Growth Collaborative, we then make sure you are connected with the appropriate resources. So, a big part of this Business Growth Collaborative is truly to take the mystery out of the ecosystem. And we know it can be overwhelming, and let us worry about that, and let us make sure that you're connected to where you need to go to make sure that you're not overwhelmed by that process and by all the resources, and to let you know all the resources that are out there that you may not have otherwise known. And that is also beyond just the organizations that participate in the Business Growth Collaborative. Those are also programming that things like the Northwest Ohio Mentor Program and Her Hub and Momentum Circle and all these other things that are going on as well, within the ecosystem. So it might not even just be an organization. It might go more, deeper to a specific program that we think you would benefit from. Okay, with that, I'm going to, we're going to get ready to wrap up, and I'm going to throw on my screen just quickly for everyone's benefit. So again, just as a reminder, here is a list of all of the Business Growth Collaborative participants, our members. And then at the bottom here, it's a little hard to see, but I did throw it in the chat as well. On the JumpStart website, there's a URL. If you go to About Our Network and then go to Business Growth Collaborative, you will see that landing page with all the information to get a hold of any one of these organizations. Okay, and I think that's it. I think we're about to time. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who stuck around, who, hopefully you got something out of this. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to myself, reach out to any one of the panelists here, and we are happy to assist in any way that we can. And thank you to all of my panelists. You know what you mean to me, so I don't need to say it, but thank you for participating.